Welcome back to DIY Willy, and today we're back with the mini bike. We're going to put a new kickstand on it, a little bit longer because I have the 10-inch wheels versus the 6-inch wheels that this frame came with. And we're going to relocate the foot pegs. We need to put the foot pegs a little bit further back to get a better feel, some better stance for the riding that we do with it. So yeah, let's take a look at those parts and see what we can do. So here's what I bought. Groot. Vámonos. Okay. So here's what I bought. This is the longer kickstand. I believe it's for a 125 or 150 dirt bike. And it is way too long. Here's the foot pegs I bought. This is also for a little pit bike or a small mini bike. And bolts to the bottom of the engine plate. So we're going to use parts of this. This is the peg I chose for our feet. I put it on here just to kind of get an idea of the size, and I know that it needs to be about 1.5 inches longer, and I don't want these bends in it. So I have some 1-inch 120 wall DOM tubing, probably overkill for this, but I think I'm going to use that in place of this. And I'll just go ahead and cut these off right here and weld these onto the DOM tubing. And I know this is a little bit long, but well, let's try this. Let's get a look at where they're gonna go. So my idea is to take this, if I can take this piece of this bracket off, just have to grind out these welds, and maybe I can take it off. If I can't, I'll make a new one. But the idea is to stick it up in there like that and bolt it to the engine plate to give it some strength. And I think it'll work really well. And coming straight out, you know, it'll put the pegs about right here. You see where my finger is? It'll put the pegs to be about right there. And they'll still fold up. I'll keep everything the same. And it's just relocating them from their position here, the stock position, to right here. It's a little easier to ride. You know, it moves the center of gravity back. It will allow you to stand up a little easier because your legs aren't here. You're not so far forward. You know, you won't be up here so far forward. So by having the pegs moved back, it moves the body weight back over, more back over the seat, giving a better riding position. So that's the plan. We're gonna go ahead and cut this piece apart and figure out what we need for the kickstand to go in there like that, and put it together and cut that DOM tube to come through here. We got a lot of work, so let's get started. Here we go to take the kickstand off. It's a 14mm on top, and I'm just gonna use a quick crescent wrench on the bottom, on the back side. It's probably a 14 back there too, but I don't know. I had the tools out already like this. And we'll just take it apart. Now I know already the bike sits down good with the kickstand on this block of wood. This block is a 2x4. Now a 2x4 is not necessarily 2 inches. I think it's 1 3/4 inches. Let's measure that. No, it's 1.5 inches. Okay, so we're gonna add 1.5 inches to this. That'll put us at 5, 6.5, and I'm just gonna go 7 just for the heck of it. That way I can fine tune it, or maybe I'll go with 7.5, just so I have a little extra to fine tune the lean on the bike. So we'll cut the new one at 7.5, right there. See that mark? That's where we're gonna cut it, at 7.5. That way we can cut it and adjust it where we need it to get the lean on the bike. Okay. Also, the spring attachment point is a little bit long for this one. And I could get a longer spring or whatever, but I don't want to. I'm going to leave the same one. So I measured it out already, and it's about a 1 inch. It's about 1 inch difference. So I need to cut this off, move it about 1 inch up, and re-weld it on. Not a problem. We'll take care of that. take the spring off. Really easy to do. Be careful with that. And the block of wood out of the way. I'm going to take the bolt out, and there we go. Now the new kickstand is threaded for the hole. Now this bolt that's in here would be the ideal thing to do, but this shoulder part here is too big to go in there. Now I could drill this out for that shoulder to go in there, but why? You know, we've got all this meat here for the extra material around here. I mean, it's there for a reason. It'll stiffen it up. So if I take I mean, it's not much. If I take that out, it just makes it that much weaker. It would probably be fine, but that's not a problem. So I'm going to use the original bolt. It goes through and the threads match. So I'm just going to do it like that. I might close the gap on it a little bit with a hammer, but the threads match, and it'll work. I'll try to put a link in the description to this piece I bought, so you will know what I'm working with here. A lot of oil. My engine cover leaks oil. I have to either put some silicone on it to get it to stop, or maybe I'll just go ahead and buy the billet cover. It has an O-ring gasket that is supposedly seals better than this one. I don't know, but there's a lot of oil down here from the engine. I'll just clean it up a little bit. That's better. Make it easier to work with too. Just kind of clean up some of the oil. When we put the new foot pegs in, then we'll actually take the engine off, just to make it easier to work with and drill the holes. I need to mount the forks. I don't want to weld them in. I'm just going to bolt them in. I've got it marked out here. It's kind of hard to see probably on the camera. There's a mark at 7.5 from this point to here. I'm going to try to get the same angle. And we're just going to cut it right there. Alright, looks good. Like I said, I left it a little bit long. That way I can grind it, get the angle I want. I'll attach a piece of flat stock right here just to make it look a little bit better. But that's a start. Remember, I got to cut this off too. Good deal. Whew. I wasn't planning on cutting. That's hot. I wasn't planning on cutting all the way through. I was just going to cut it to the end and then wiggle it, but it cut all the way through. So now I'll just grind this off, and then we'll move it up 1 inch to, and it's plenty long. We'll move it up to 1 inch and re-weld it. So that's a good start. All right, so here we go. Let's put it on, see what it looks like. I'll have to lift it off of the paint can. Comes up, yeah, it's out of the way. Comes down. Yeah, I like it. Should work really well. Let's see if it's a little bit long. Can you see the difference? Look at that, how much longer it is. And the bike is sitting really good. I like how it sits. So now what I'm going to do is just take a little bit off the corner so it's flat, and I'll put a piece of flat stock, much like this has. I'll just put a piece of flat stock on it, and it'll sit nice and flat on the ground. So check it out. There's the kickstand, all done. The little foot pad is welded on. The spring is installed. It's a little bit tight. I moved it up about 1 inch. Yeah, it works good too. It looks good. The bike is at a good angle. You can see it. I don't know if it flattens it out. That bike's at a good angle. It's not gonna fall over. The other way, kind of stable. It's not leaning way over exaggerated. Yeah, I like it. Look how perfect that is. Pick it up, fold it, stays back. Look at that, beautiful, nice and solid. Take it down, it's got good spring action. Look at that, oh man. I like it. It looks good. That's another good project right there. Now on to the foot pegs. That's our next adventure. We gotta take the other one apart. See how we can fit it in here. Okay, so here's the pieces I got for the new foot pegs. I wanted this flange to go to the new pipe to bolt to the mini bike. Save me some time of trying to fabricate something. So I took it off of this piece. I just ground the welds out. It came right off. And it's gonna fit right over that. So yeah, so that'll give me a way to bolt it in, and secure the foot pegs. Of course, it'll be centered. It's not centered right now, but then I'm just gonna take these ends off and weld them over here on the ends of this one in the correct angle. I'll establish that once I have this piece bolted on the mini bike. Okay, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna go ahead and center this up and weld it up, so it'll be ready to mount. Now that I have the forks made, I'm gonna have to take the engine out so I can get below to the engine plate and drill the holes to mount the forks. And yeah, I got a couple other things I want to do while the engine plate's off. If I get around to it, maybe I'll paint it. I don't know. But they turned out really good. I've got them all tacked together. Even got the correct angle on the foot pegs now. I don't have the springs installed yet because I'm gonna take them apart to finish welding them. But they're gonna bolt inside like that. And then once I have them bolted, I can put everything back together. And then I'm probably gonna cut these off right here and just cap them off. That way we'll only have the rear set of pegs right here. And this is actually the best spot. I would like them to be a little bit further back, but the way that I planned on mounting them and working with them, that's the best spot for them. I thought about putting them underneath, but it just makes them that much lower. And I think they're better in this spot right here. And it's not permanent because it's bolted. If I decide that it's better off below, then I can always move them below. But for now, that's my plan. So let me get this engine out of here. I got to take the exhaust off. Got to take the throttle cable out, disconnect the gas, the catch can, and lift it out. I'll go ahead and do that now, and I'll get back with you. So I've got the torque converter cover off, and a couple things I see a lot of dust from the belt all underneath, inside. I guess it's a common thing. The belt still looks like it's in good shape. You know, the pulleys still look good. I noticed the chain is a little bit off, out of center, not where it's supposed to be, out of alignment, I should say. Still turns fine, there's no problem, but I can tell that the engine kicked over a little bit that way. The Juggernaut also is rubbing the cover, I see. It's got a ring around it. I thought I was able to trim the cover and move it in, but I guess not. It's rubbing it. Probably due to the spacers I have on the back, but that's where I was getting my alignment on this, on the driven pulley. It's actually off a little bit. That could be where the dust is coming from. Maybe when I put it back together, I'll see if I can't fix that. There's a good shot of it right there. So I'll try to fix that when I put it back together. That could be where some of the dust is coming from too. So I'm gonna get the torque converter off, get the exhaust off, the chain, go around the other side, get the carburetor, and move on. Got to get that engine out. So I got the pegs installed now. I drilled holes in the plate and centered them in the middle of the bike. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but there's a line right here that I just established as center, because this was 14 inches from there to there. 14 inches, so 7 would be center. Then I came over here and I found center here between these. I don't remember what this measurement was. I think it was 10 maybe, or anyway, I don't remember what this measurement was, but I found center right here and I just transferred it across and drew a line where I wanted it, and there it is. So now the engine plate will bolt in there like that, and yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I may have to grind. I may have to grind a little bit right here. It might be a little bit off center. But that's okay, I can do that. It looks good. Now the reason I had to do this is they had to come out so much further because, you know, with the 212, it sticks out more on both sides with the torque converter on this side and the pole star on this side. So I brought it out 1.5 inches more on each side, giving it enough room for your feet to rest. And these are a little larger pegs too, so it's more comfortable to sit. I have tried it. I put it on the ground and I did try it. It was much better to feel, you know. It was really nice to rest your feet there. I still need to weld them up 100% everything. So I put it together right here just for test purposes only. And yeah, I'm going to make the little minor adjustments I need to make. Here, I might be able to loosen it up maybe and square it up, but I'll grind a little bit just to make sure I have enough for the plate to slide forward, because the plate has to rest all the way up here in order to have room for everything to fit back there. Now you can see my torque converter was rubbing, so under load, it was pulling that way. Anyway, also, when I went to degrease this, because I was using cutting fluid to drill the holes, and when I went to degrease it, the paint lifted right off the plate. That's steel plate right there now. So I'm gonna have to repaint that. I'll prep it a little bit and again degrease it and then spray paint it again so I preserve it. I don't think I'm gonna spray paint this yet. I'll wait until we work on the next part that goes back here, that you who follow my channel know what I'm gonna do back here. But I have mentioned it a couple times, but I haven't done it yet. So we're gonna break the whole bike apart when we do that, and we'll repaint the whole frame when we do that. But for now, man, that looks really good, and they're strong. Like I said, this is 1 inch, 120 wall DOM. It's probably overkill for what's needed here, but man, I mean, it's gonna work perfect once I get it welded 100% all the way around. I mean, this thing's gonna be strong, really strong. But it looks good. It looks really good. It looks really good. Yeah, I like it. It's gonna make riding it much easier too, you know. And I may, since I've got this position changed, I might, there's risers you can buy for this too and make it a little taller. I may do that. Just get the handlebars up a little bit. Just making it more comfortable to ride. Anyway, Mighty's coming along. Those are some of the plans we've wanted to do to it. And just another step towards finishing up. I don't know if it ever get finished. I mean, there's always something we're gonna do. There's something that's gonna go over here that I haven't mentioned yet, and that might have something to do with it. But anyway, get back to the topic. Anyway, we got this done. It looks fantastic. I'm very happy with it. And time to start painting stuff up and making the final little adjustments, grinding everywhere that it needs to grind, and putting it back together to ride it. Oh, I gotta weld everything up too. All right, see you in a little bit. So I've started welding up the foot pegs. I've got one pass halfway around there. I've just put a couple good tacks here. That's all it really needs. And I've got around there. Now I got to clean this area up. I might put a little bit right here. I don't know. It's not really needed. I'm just going to clean them up. But it's turning out pretty good. I turned my machine up a little bit so I get some good penetration into the DOM tubing. Burned my finger. Hurts. But yeah, clean it up a little bit with the magic grinder and throw some coat of paint on it, and it'll be beautiful. The piece looks really good. I'm happy with that. And it should have enough penetration to be strong enough right here. You can see the heat transfer into the DOM, and of course this thing is practically melting away, so I'm getting good penetration. All right, that's a good sign too, that penetration, because this material is what I'm going to use for the swing arm. So I'm glad to see that the machine is hot enough to weld it. Of course, for the swing arm, I'll be beveling it to get penetration, but yeah, it looks really good. Let me finish up and we'll get it back on the bike. So I got everything painted, and well, I got it all welded up, got it all painted, and Man, I'm the worst guy to wait for paint. I hate waiting for things. So the paint's still, well, it's dry to the touch, but it could be a lot more dry. I just don't like to wait. So I bolted it back together. It can continue to dry right here. But there you go. There's a look at it. I don't have the springs installed yet, but they fold up out of the way like they're supposed to. And I had to add some little spacers to fit it up good inside. And I like the way it turned out. There, you see it now? Little spacers under there? Not really, huh? Anyway, it looks really good. And there's the shot of the new kickstand. I didn't paint that. I should have took that off and painted that too while I was at it. But I got everything painted up. Everything's in. And next I'll put the engine back in. I've already cleaned it up some. And I'll put the engine back in, hook it all up, and I'll put the springs and the clips in here. I don't really like, these are kind of cheap, you know, they just have a cotter pin that goes in there and holds them. I would rather have a bolt, much like that one. So I might be doing that, putting a bolt in there. Maybe that bolt will fit. I'll just put it in there. Anyway, yeah, there you go. There's the new pegs. I've already sat on it. It feels good in the riding position. It is a little bit higher because they're larger overall, but it is just a touch higher. But that's okay. I don't mind. It feels good to ride, and when you go to stand up, it should feel really good. So yeah, I like it. Now I'll just go ahead and get the engine put back in. So the paint's all dry. It looks really good. I like it. Yeah, the paint's a little different than the original paint, but that's all right. I mean, we're gonna paint the whole frame eventually anyway. So now, well, it's time to get the engine back in it and get it back going. I want to take it for a ride. I want to feel how these new pegs are, and I gotta get these old ones cut off. All right, let me get that engine in. Wow, look at that. The engine's back in. It's all put back together. Everything's connected. Take a look at those new foot pegs, man. Aren't they not sweet? Look at that. Stick out nice. Nice wide perch for your feet. I still have this one here. I'll cut this off later right there. But I just wanted to make sure I like this position. And I'm going to let my son try it too. But look at that. Man, I really like it. It really turned out well. And it's strong, man. That's, like I said, that's 1 inch, 120 watt DOM tube. There's no way that thing is going to break. I think the weld here would probably break before this bent or anything. Now, my other concern would be that now all the weight is transferred to the engine plate. So this is going to be a weak point here. You know, this whole engine plate here. So when I start working on the back, I'm going to put some gussets up there and stiffen the engine plate underneath. Give it some support across the front, across the back, and then long ways a couple times in the middle to give it some strength on the engine plate. Because I know now this is going to be the weakest link. So that'll probably bend. So before I get too much riding on it, I will definitely put some stiffening in that plate underneath. So yeah, it's all about making it rideable, more comfortable for adults, and just off-road riding, trail riding, whatever. It puts your feet in a better position, I think, than it was up here. Let's look at the other side. The other side, yeah, I got the springs on. Springs are working good. They stick up a little bit, and I was able to use the existing bolt from here rather than just the rather than just the thin the pin and the cotter pin. I much prefer the bolt, and it worked. It's perfect size. It just took the bolt out of here and put it right back there. It worked. Didn't have to use the pin. You know, I could still keep these foot pegs and maybe put them back here somewhere for passenger. I know there's not much room, but we have ridden passengers on it, 2 people. Not me, of course. I'm a little bit large, but my son has ridden people on the back of it. So maybe I'll give it a place for their feet to go. Who knows? We'll deal with that later. There's a good shot of the kickstand. It's all in there. I should have painted it, but I didn't. Yeah, that is nice. Really nice. I really like the way it turned out. I have the tachometer, and it wasn't really a good place to put it. I used to have it kind of zip tied with some double back tape right here. You can kind of still see the residue of the tape, but it never worked. It always rolled under. So I made a little bracket go in here that bolts onto the riser, and man, I just zip tied it to it because I didn't have the small bolts, and it is tight, man. It's perfect how that worked like that. I really like it. Bike is really coming out good, man. So yeah, next thing to do, I guess, would be get it back on the ground, start it up, and take it for a little ride, huh? What do you say? Well, let's see. Let's start it up. Let's see what we got. There we go. Look at the tack. Don't want to gas ourselves out in the garage. All right, so it's looking good, running good. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more projects on the mini bike. I've got a lot more going on. I've also got another one I got to build. And yeah, it's been a great project, and it continues to be a great project as we modify and improve it in a sense, upgrade it. You know, with the front brakes and the front forks, and the tachometer, and you know, just all the nice stuff. Honestly, foot pegs relocated. It turned out good. So yeah, like I said, if you haven't already, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up, a good like, and wow, always come back to DIY Willy, where we work on mini bikes and other projects, whatever our mind comes to, trucks, samurais, whatever. So thanks for watching. See you next time.